In the following lesson, we introduce the notion of a population data and a sample from that population data, some very important concepts in business statistics. We talk about the linkages between a sample and population. What are some of the properties that a good sample should have? The concept of a population and a sample from that population are central in business statistics. So, let us understand these concepts. In common usage, the word population implies a collection of people. However, in statistics, when we say population, we imply a collection of people, collection of items, group of measurements, set of events, etc. The common theme is that we wish to make some inference about the population. A formal definition that can be given is that a population is the complete set of numerical information on a particular quantity in which we as an analyst are interested. For example, if you wish to find out the percentage of votes that a particular candidate will get in the upcoming mayor's election in your city, then your population of interest or the relevant population is the set of all voting people in the city. If you wish to make the same inference for a national election, then the population of interest would be the set of voting people in the entire country. If McDonald's wishes to study how sales have been impacted by menu changes in its offering across its restaurants in the state of Texas, then all the franchisee McDonald's restaurants in Texas become the relevant population for this study. Food and Drug Administration of the United States needs to test and clear food items being imported inside the United States. In this case, all the food items being imported become the relevant population for purposes of testing by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. A sample, on the other hand, is a subset of the relevant population, and it is a sample that you actually use to make inferences about the population. For example, the pollsters before elections make predictions about the outcome of elections based on interviewing a sample of voting population. They do not interview the entire voting population. The Food and Drug Administration may not inspect the entire set of food products imported, but rather may inspect a sample from the entire population of food items. Similarly, McDonald's may simply analyze the change in sales in response to menu changes in offering only for a sample of restaurants rather than the entire set of restaurants. The aim is still the same, to understand how sales have been impacted across all restaurants. So, why do we take a sample? The biggest reason is that accessing the entire population may not be practical, may not be cost effective, or may not even be possible. For example, if you wish to count the number of black spots on oranges picked at a large orange farm, then it may not be feasible to count the spots on every orange picked. Rather, you may want to use a sample of oranges and count the number of black spots in that sample. An important thing to keep in mind is that what is a population and what is a sample are very context driven questions. Something which is a sample in one situation may be a population in some other situation. For example, the set of voting people in Houston can be considered a sample when analyzing the voting behavior in the presidential election across the United States. The same set of voting people in Houston would be a population when analyzing voting behavior for Houston's mayor elections. So, what allows us to use a sample rather than an entire population in making inferences about the population? Two important things. Firstly, a sample should be a subset of the population, and secondly, and more importantly, the sample should be representative of the population. Representative sample means that the sample should accurately reflect the entire population. It should be an unbiased representation of what the population is like. Example of a non-representative sample would be one where, for example, in a study to ascertain eating habits of students on a university campus, we use a sample consisting only of male students. This sample probably may not be representative of the entire student body on the campus, which consists of both male students and female students. How does one get a representative sample? There is a whole field within marketing research that deals with sampling and different ways of generating a representative sample. However, in short, the most common method of obtaining a representative sample is to randomly select a sample from the population. Apart from being a subset of and representative of the population, before we start making inferences about the population based on the sample, we need to introduce some more statistical concepts. One of the very important concepts that allows inference about a population based on a sample is a theorem called central limit theorem, which we will introduce in the next lesson.